Senator Marsha Blackburn is joining us. She's from the great state of Tennessee. Y'all know how much I love Tennessee. Senator, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Thanks for being on this morning. Greatly appreciate it. Hey, since there's nothing going on in the world, why don't we talk about music in Nashville or something like that? What do you think?
I think that sounds like a great idea. We're
Well,
all just kind of singing Kumbaya and rocking on.
Exactly. Although I hear there's a good possibility that the Republican National Convention may happen in Nashville in 2024.
I can't imagine that they would choose Milwaukee over Nashville. Nashville's a convention town, and when you do a convention, logistics are vitally important. The location of your convention hall, the proximity of hotels to that, being able to move people quickly from one spot to another, that is all important.
Well, I talked to my brother yesterday. I'm from Florida originally. My wife Dee Dee and I moved here 37 years ago to Maine. And I said, hey, Jim, it looks like it's going to be in Nashville. I agree with you. I don't think they'll choose Milwaukee. And we were in Cleveland in 16 broadcasting. So he's already said, hey, let's start looking for hotel rooms and get ready. We're going.
I think that's a good thing to do. Go find you an Airbnb today.
Yeah, exactly, because they're gonna load up fast. We got a lot of things we want to get to with you, but just quickly, President Zelensky of Ukraine addressed the Congress the other day. If you could, just give us your 30-second thoughts on that.
Yes, he did a very well-prepared speech, well-organized, had the video in there, laid out his concerns, talked about we have to stop Putin, we have to stop this aggression, it was an unprovoked war. Zelensky, in my opinion, is a 21st century profiling courage, the way he is leading the Ukrainian people, the way the Ukrainian people are leading. And he said, if you want to help me preserve liberty and justice, then I need a no-fly zone. If you can't give me that, give me the air power, the drones, the missiles. And, if you give them that, then in essence, what they're going to do is create their own no-fly zone.
Right. You're absolutely right. We've talked about it from day one. I have many friends in Kyiv, and in fact, one of the folks with the government has joined me many times since this all began live. And these are heroic people. The Ukrainian people are doing what people would do, patriotic people would do. They're defending their nation. They're standing up.
That's right, Ray. Yes, you're exactly right. They are stepping up. They do not want to be Russia. They do not want to be consumed by Russia, overrun by Russia. What they're looking for is freedom and the ability to live their own life.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. There are many steps between the tepid sanctions we've done and boots on the ground. I don't believe we should put American boots on Ukrainian soil. There's some things specifically, and I know we want to move on here. Are there some things specifically you think our president should be doing that could be a game changer for the Ukrainian people?
Of course. The air power, the Stingers, the Javelins, the Switchblade drones, drones that have a higher capacity. And the Ukrainian army knows how to deal with the drones out of Turkey, the ones out of Israel, of course the MiGs, they know how to fly those. So that equipment should be getting to them. Likewise, they're going to need other humanitarian aid as Russia continues to just ravage the country. And it's so important to realize this is a war of choice by Vladimir Putin. This is not a war of contention. It is a war of choice.
You're absolutely right. He made the decision to invade a sovereign nation for whatever his purposes are. I know he has said many times and written many times the saddest day of his life was when the Soviet Union broke up. But the fact of the matter is it did break up. Ronald Reagan led the charge against that, and we basically broke the back of the Soviet Union. And now he wants to regain that soil. But Ukraine's a sovereign nation with very proud people. And I'm glad that you've spoken out on it and said what you've said. I know we got a lot to get to, and we got about 12 minutes here. You are a good friend of Gail Huff Brown, who's running for Congress in New Hampshire's 1st Congressional District. Give me your thoughts about that.
Yes, I was so excited when Gail called and said she was going to pop in this race. And she is, a working mom, a grandmom. She is focused on having a good future for our children, that our children dream those big dreams and have a way to make them come true. And what she wants to do is to take New Hampshire's voice to D.C. That is something that has not been happening with their current congressman. So being able to say, all right, we're going to take New Hampshire's voice, and Gail will do that. She is patriotic, and she is going to go there and fight to get this country back on track.
No, I agree with you. She's been a guest here many times. I know her husband, Scott, who was a former United States Senator from Massachusetts. And I think she would be a great voice in New Hampshire. And that's why we continue to have her on here, because we have a reach in New Hampshire. We need to change the butts in the seats in Washington. Currently,
yes,
Susan
that's
Collins.
So true.
Yeah, Susan Collins is the only Republican in all of New England.
Right, and there is a Senate seat up in New Hampshire.
Yes.
And we know that Maggie Hassan's kind of fallen out of favor with a lot of New Hampshire voters. We've watched the polling on that. We're going to have a great Republican primary. And the New Hampshire is going to choose a great nominee in that Senate race, and I think you'll see that seat flip. And I always love coming up here. I've been up many times working with women's groups or speaking to different party groups, campaigning, and I'm so looking forward to being on the ground today and making certain that when it comes to these congressional races, when it comes to the Senate seat, that Republicans win those.
No, I agree with you completely. We have a wonderful women's group here in the state. It's called She Leads. If you haven't come up and been a speaker, they should invite you, because I know you would inspire more women to get involved here in the state of Maine and lead the way, which would be fabulous. I want to ask, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I want to ask you about the United States Supreme Court. Before we get into President Biden's nominee, let me ask you about your approach. How do you go about evaluating how you will, the questions that you will ask, and, ultimately how you make a decision to vote yay or nay on this nominee?
Yes, what we're going to do is look at her record, whether it was her private practice or public defender work, her work at the Sentencing Commission, her work as a district federal judge, and then an appellate judge, and focus in on her judicial philosophy. When she was up for confirmation for the appellate court, I asked her about her judicial philosophy, and she really couldn't give me an answer to that. And that is a crucial nugget, to know how someone is going to go through this process. What underpins them? What are they looking for? Are they going to go to the Constitution first? Are they a constitutionalist? Are they going to look at precedent first, which is the opinion of the court in a previous case? So what I will do is spend some time kind of trying to hammer that out with her.
Let me ask you this, and I don't know if you're aware of it or not, but Senator Josh Hawley has come forward, and she has had 10 child pornographic cases before her. And I guess in all cases, she has gone below what is the recommended sentence by the government for these people who have been convicted.
That's right.
Does that give you pause?
Of course. When I was going back through her record, of course, I've led the way on what is happening with our children with big tech and some of these pornography cases. So I had looked to see if she had anything in tech, and we discovered that she had these 10 opinions. Well, we discovered one, and then we kept looking and realized it was a total of 10. And what had happened there, she would go about 5 years below the minimum sentence. So she would take the minimum sentence and reduce it, and then give that as the sentence to these pedophiles and these child abusers.
So do we have any idea why she would do that? Because she would go below the government. I mean, when these people got, prosecuted and convicted, the government, as you know, when they do this, they make a recommendation, and she would go well below their recommendations. Do we have any idea why she's been soft on this issue?
One of the things that I also found, and I've asked her about this, and I'll ask her about it in the committee, is what she did when she was in college at Harvard. She wrote her thesis on the coercive nature of the courts. And that is an item of tremendous concern to me. So she thinks the court is too coercive. So then what she does is go light on hardened criminals and repeat offenders and pedophiles and child abusers. And that is not what people are wanting to see. I don't know any mom or dad, grandmom or granddad, that wants child abusers to get light sentences. They'd rather see them put in and serve the maximum sentence.
No, you're absolutely right. It's interesting that as we're talking about this in the segment prior to you being on, State Senator Bill Diamond was here. He has been a warrior on exposing what's happened with children in state custody who have died. We've had a couple of hundred over the last, I think it's been 13 years, who have died while in state custody, state care. And the legislature here has been slow to move. The Child Protective Services isn't transparent, but the public is demanding that something be done about this. These people, in one case, Bill has sat through the trials of these parents. In one case, the social worker said, Julio was very charming, and I just couldn't believe that he would be beating her 3 or 4 days a week. He literally beat her to death with a broomstick. So for some reason, we've got people inside the government, either at the bureaucratic level or the judicial level, who don't want to seem to be tough on people who mistreat children.
And it is of such concern to me because you see it in the physical nature, you see it through the spoken word, you see it through big tech. And having consistent policies that are going to punish these abusers to the maximum extent of the law is how we are going to get a handle on this.
And Senator, you know, because I've listened to you, you know that our southern border being so porous, a lot of the people that are coming across, not all, let's be very clear, some of these people are escaping oppression, but some of these people, they're bringing in children who have been abused where they are, and they're bringing them in this country to be abused because they make money from it. And we've got to find a way to deal with it.
Yes, and closing that southern border and prohibiting these cartels, prohibiting them from marketing these children as they are, pushing them into human trafficking and sex trafficking.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. We're talking with Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn. We got a little bit of time left here. I got this note right as you were coming on, and they said, please tell the senator that we are two Mainers who are moving to Knoxville, and we want her to know we love her state, and we're moving there. In fact, they're going to work for Oak Ridge National Labs. I don't know if you're familiar with Oak. Yeah, so you know the place.
Yes, yeah. Indeed. Yes, indeed. I spend a good bit of time at Oak Ridge National Labs.
They wanted you to know they look forward to living in a state that's free and that is also income tax free. That's something we use here.
That state income tax battle is one that I led when I was in the state Senate, and we will never have a state income tax in Tennessee.
Hallelujah.
Yes.
I wish we could say that here. Our state income tax and our incomes are lower than a lot of the country. We're in the bottom 10% for incomes household-wise, but we have the fourth highest tax burden in the country, and the people in government here can't figure out that the tax burden is a deterrent to economic growth. But you figured it out in Tennessee.
Yes, we did, and you'll never have a state income tax there. It's in our Constitution.
Well, as I told you, my mama's people are from Knoxville. My father always called that the Holy Land, and we spent a lot of time in Gatlinburg, probably my favorite place other than living in Maine. And you got a great state down there, and I hope they hold the RNC convention there so we can come to Nashville and enjoy some good food, some good speeches, and some good music.
You got that right. We'll look forward to rolling out the welcome mat and just say, y'all come.
There we go. Senator, thank you so much for being on this morning. Greatly appreciate it.
Delighted to join you. Thank you.